using Ranger versus DreamHack. But let's see the picks right now. Anarchy going to be the first one, and Clutch
yes.
immediately not messing around whatsoever.
And he's going to be going in with Ranger 2, then there's the Nyx.
And Doomslayer surely is what I would be expecting now, but he's going to go for the Solag instead. Again, saying that it's not something he's been practicing much since the changes in the update.
I love the fact that in our interview with RAISY, he pretty much said in plain black and white, I don't play Solag anymore. And here we are. You know, this is just a pick he must be confident in. I think, you know, Clutch in particular, if you can catch him with the shield down, you can probably melt some of that health away. If he stands in the acid damage, I guess that will be something that goes through the shield. But other than that, I mean, I would be so scared of that Ranger. We have seen some disgusting telefrags come out of dooi today.
Sure, and actually Solag is a large target, so maybe that would play into Ranger's hands a little bit. Did notice actually, I'm gutted that I didn't notice earlier, but dooi used to play green on every single champion using that shader, and he's actually finally moved away from that to something that's less highly visible for his opponent. So good job, dooi.
I think that's the thing. Like, we have retained a little bit of green, though he's made the guns green, but I think that's a bit of a good call, you know, playing in a competitive setting. I kind of don't really want to be just the kind of a green pea, you know.
Or your high visibility jacket everywhere. You probably don't want to do that where possible. But here we go, guys. We are moving into the first semi-finals here of DreamHack Denver 2017. It is going to be Maestro Gaming's dooi and RAISY setting things off. And we are going to be on board with, let's see, it's going to be dooi's Clutch to start with.
And I love this idea that he's gone Clutch, and he's got the perfect start. If Clutch spawns right next to that rocket launcher, this is a great situation to be in because you've got that natural stack, you've got the best weapon for Clutch to sort of maximize the downtime of the shield. And there you go. He's got early control, trying to sort of go in there and push with the acid spit. dooi actually can't really take too much of this.
Wow.
RAISY with that first blood.
It's insane, actually, how close up dooi wanted to go just then with the Clutch. I mean, sure, he was doing a lot of damage and it wasn't working too badly at all, but it is going to cost him his first death.
I like the fact that RAISY sort of used that acid spit as well to somewhat sort of push out and try and seize that, but here comes the chase. dooi has so much more of a stack available. Could have actually potentially chased that down and got one final shot.
He's just taken both the items as well, and with the Ranger, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't get the frag. It's going to be immensely impressive for RAISY to stay alive in this scenario.
You can also have to look at the fact that when those up-close fights happen, even if dooi doesn't get a telefrag, he's going to just do natural damage with the die orb if he chooses to do it. And it does such a huge amount of damage by itself before you even fire a weapon. At 100 health or 150 with no armor, Solag is still kind of vulnerable to that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, RAISY's let go of another rotation of major items. I don't think he intended on doing that. It's going to be a solid rocket landed by dooi, in fact. He went in with the die orb. Could he chase up? He's chased on the other side. I don't know if RAISY expected him from that corner.
dooi has just remained so ridiculously unpredictable from start to finish today.
It looks like RAISY's just trying to draw in some stability once again. And is this going to be another rotation of items that goes into dooi's favor? Looks like RAISY's letting go of the Mega, so that's 6 major items back-to-back that dooi's taken.
Ranger's going to have the edge of a little bit more maneuverability with that die orb, obviously with the cooldown being super generous. I believe it's like 20 seconds, and that's even before you collect the hourglasses. And that's going to be a constant thorn in RAISY's side. Massive damage, maneuverability, instant kill potential. Sokka's
just been avoiding him the whole time, in fact. He's really not wanted to get close for a bit. So I like seeing that RAISY's giving some good respect to dooi the whole time.
I think you need to at this level, right? You know, you've had the entire day to watch the competition. These guys, yes, they're teammates, but that you bet that RAISY's been studying these matches. He knows kind of how dooi's likely to approach here. But on the flip side, of course, dooi will know the same thing.
Yeah. It's just how then your play styles clash with one another. So it's a kind of like feeling each other out at the moment. RAISY, he's going to try and get himself onto that heavy armor. But he's breaking away in the end. And the rocket's coming out from dooi.
But he didn't actually collect the heavy, you know, so he's actually waiting out and allowing RAISY to come down. Unfortunately, that is an exchange that he couldn't really survive, so he's forced to retreat temporarily. And he goes into the telefrag!
Wow, on the Mega, what a prediction as well. Or just assuming that RAISY was finally going to make a play on one of the big items. That was an awesome frag from dooi.
It's just such a denial of all things momentum-based. You see how much health and armor RAISY had with Solag, and it's just deleted in an instance. And he got another one! What is going on, Zoo?
This guy is mad. dooi, 2 quick die orb frags and looking at taking another frag to take the round.
I mean, just like that.
Should we have that triple die orb frag? We were close to getting it last time.
I would not be surprised.
trying to get a little bit of the chip damage. If Dooi can keep his mind as well on the items and continue that amazing control he's had, that would help him heaps.
I feel like it just goes hand in hand with fantastic decision-making, doesn't it? I mean, the fact that he got the telefrag on Mega wasn't really, you know, in a way it was a reaction. He just kind of expected it, saw him on the point, and that was it. Just a great decision.
That was nice from RAISY, actually, to manage to get a steal onto Heavy at the same time. So avoided quite an extra amount of pressure than they would otherwise have gotten. So Dooi will be happy to slow things down a bit. An aggressive chase all of a sudden can't quite get their dire orb out in time. And now it's going to be Doomslayer going up versus RAISY's Nyx.
He's looked to potentially rush it. He's going to know that the Ghost Walk is down for the time being, but RAISY's been able to get out of there. I think just eliminating that Ranger is going to be so important, especially seeing as Dewey's been doing some magical things.
Yeah. Oh, completely. It's just... you know, he's playing high level on a lot of champions, but that Ranger is, you know, there's not many people on the planet at the moment that can do what he's able to do with the Ranger.
Yeah, he's one of those sort of, you know, easy to learn but hard to master champions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way to put it. RAISY waiting. He's so early, actually, for this item, forced to use the Ghost Walk. And Dooi, he's still in vicinity. Rocket through the teleporter. They're not quite able to land things on each other, and RAISY's going to have to back off.
Kind of surprised to see Dooi miss some of those rockets, seeing as they were so close, but I feel like that just must come down to really good positioning by RAISY.
They were both pixels away from each other on landing the shots. Looks like it's going to be Dooi taking 2 big items in a row. And RAISY still 5 seconds until he's going to be getting himself that Ghost Walk. This is a lot of pressure. He's sure he's going to be able to get the frag, but RAISY breaks away, realizing that Ghost Walk is seconds away.
I love that idea to just sort of disengage temporarily. Even one wayward rocket from that situation would have put RAISY down, and the round would have gone in Dewey's favor.
Interesting that RAISY decided to be aggressive through the teleporter, when if he hung around and had perfect timing, he probably could have secured himself the heavy armor, but maybe be a bit more vulnerable to a rocket at that point after.
But that's what happens when we reach this level of the map, you know, where if you try and fight for one of these items, then the risk of being fragged, sometimes people just don't want to take it. However, RAISY been forced away. Even as he retreats, no matter what he picks up here, Dooi is going to be in a great situation for this fight, and he heads it off perfectly.
He's going to secure the first round with that as well. I was just about to say, it feels like Dooi is doing better with the control and dictating the pace of the map. And with that, he's going to have the nice rocket frag securing him a 1-0. But we'll be moving into round number 2 in just a moment. And that was so sick.
And you know, the wonderful thing is I have no doubt that that is far from the last telefrag.
He was saying in his interview he just loves doing dire orb frags all the time, and sometimes he's got to like control himself and not going a little bit too heavy-handed on it.
Because, I mean, like, we can't forget the fact that it's high risk, high reward, right? If you miss the telefrag, even if the dire orb connects, you've now lost your escape mechanism and you're point blank.
Uh-oh, this is going to be a bit of pressure on RAISY, but the refrigerator is not able to fit through the doorway too easily, and there's going to be pressure on him at the moment. He might want to chase on this anyway.
It's a tight squeeze.
I think the limited amount of rockets that he had maybe made him think twice on it.
But RAISY, I mean, that's why he's starting to push in with the LG. He's going to be more than aware that the shield is down. So now he can start to aggress, and he can aggress for a long time. The shield's going to be gone for a long time indeed, and he manages to score the frag.
Yeah, he just doesn't stop pressing forward. Great LG work, and Dooi getting a bit caught up in, well, his movement, or well, maybe even lack of movement.
So the change this time, though, for Doomslayer, I think he feels like he might have a better chance dealing with this Anarchy. The problem is, because he's fresh off the spawn, yeah, he hasn't really got a lot of movement, but he still brings the trap!
Injection was used, and it's just 3 punches back-to-back. Dooi is going to secure the second frag.
I feel that was very confident of Dooi to stay there, but I mean, if he's stuck in the animation of the injection, that's 3 punches for days.
Exactly. I don't think RAISY was expecting that kind of play whatsoever, so they're going after those unpredictable moves, and it's working out. It's a great exchange of control we're getting from the players. Wow, perfect rockets over here from Dooi, and he's looking at maybe even securing another round.
It's amazing decision-making. You know, absolutely sublime decision-making. And if you can put yourself in a great situation where the momentum starts to swing in your favor after 1 frag, in a very small amount of time, Dooi now controls the entire pace of this map.
Oh, superb rockets over there. I think that RAISY is going to be in a lot of trouble right now. And he's going to be maybe a bit dazed and confused. This is a map that he's been so good at the whole time. And he's close to being suffering 2-0 at LG. Looking forward, and the rocket is spot on.
And these straight 2 rounds up, and you say to yourself, this is a map that RAISY is ridiculously comfortable on, but at the same time, if he loses dominantly on a map that he's made a name for himself on. What does that do to your confidence going into future maps?
Yeah, it makes you feel completely uncertain about what's going on at any point then. So let's have a look. Dooi back on the clutch to begin with. The movement, wow, he's so rapid with that.
It's one of the few champions that can actually keep up with an Anarchy, especially in a map like this, which is so close range. I mean, if you chase him down for a split second, you got a rocket launcher and a shield, Anarchy's going to be pretty vulnerable to that kind of play.
I would like to see Dooi pick up a few more rockets, actually, because it's something he's going to be using a lot, depending on how long Clutch is going to be staying alive for. And he's just standing still, waiting for some kind of information.
Well, I feel like if he's trying to spring a trap, he doesn't want to make a sound picking it up, I suppose. But now he knows he's there. He may try and pick up, no? Opting to go down instead.
Looking at possibly going up the bounce pad again. And I think he heard Mega getting taken.
Oh, there's the rockets. Waiting for that magic time. Obviously, he doesn't want to give his position away too heavily. I think springing the trap on Anarchy is a very popular tactic on Corrupted Keep. Just kind of hear him run around the map willy-nilly and just get one good rocket, and he's in a huge amount of trouble. Obviously, Dewey's doing the same thing. He's just getting that important data.
Very patient round between the two of them so far. And obviously, RAISY doesn't want to go head-on in towards the shield. This is a nice little move from Dooi, and he's going to try and cut him off at the moment with the rockets. Caught him on the archway, but it's not able to stop him completely.
Yeah, almost caught him in a bad spot the second he bumped into the side of that wall. Probably would have wanted to go through the archway instead.
Nice little change of direction from RAISY as well. Not going through the teleporter, because he would have been absolutely stuffed just then.
I think RAISY, yeah, he had to be very careful how he controlled that. Even if he managed to get a fight on Dooi, just look at the difference in stack. Clutch just needs one rocket there, a little bit of a potential LG if he hasn't got one, but the super shotgun might finish it regardless.
I like also that Dooi hasn't been getting bogged down or thinking of going over to the lightning gun, where it can be a bit of a trap. Here he's got shield once more, but he needs to get close to him, and it's so difficult to do that when you're going up versus an Anarchy.
But clearly RAISY is now playing around the shield, right? The second he shields, the shield pops. He doesn't even try and fight it. You know, he'll just run away, use the Anarchy movement to get away, and then outrun it, and then go in like now when the shield is down.
Brilliant counterplay over there from RAISY. I liked what Dooi was thinking, but in order to make that work, you've got to be landing your shots, and he just wasn't able to do that. Small advantage at the moment for RAISY, but it's not the first time he's got the first frag on Clutch. He's often getting countered afterwards by Dooi on either the Doom or the Ranger.
Yeah, we actually saw it from both rounds in a row, some magical things coming through. RAISY does get taken out by that rocket, and it's in itself right now. The magical things have happened from both the Doomslayer and the Ranger. I reckon we might be starting to see that again. Berserk's going to be down for a huge chunk of time, but if he's able to just harass with, 20 rockets, right? That's a huge amount.
Yeah. Oh, you should be good to go with that. And not worrying about the lightning gun. It may be worth getting at this stage, although it is a Nyx. The movement is less erratic compared with the Anarchy.
Yeah, let's actually manage to somewhat get over that rocket on the mark, but a little bit high up there.
Both items up at the same time. That's going to be heavy for Dooi, and RAISY, he's not moved down for Mega just yet, actually, and he gets the mid-air anyway. What is RAISY doing in that position?
I felt like, his call to action was maybe I can just get some damage first and then take the Mega, but I feel like the fact that he'd already taken the heavy going straight in for the Mega being quite an obvious play there, I feel like he just put himself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Here it is, a bit of aggression over there from RAISY. Dooi handling it fairly well. I think he was right below him for a second, but it looks like Dooi, all he's thinking about is getting the next two major items. Here's one. I found him with the lightning gun. He's got to get his crosshair honed in on him, and I think the double jump in the air might have made him a bit vulnerable to the damage RAISY was doing.
Yeah, you get kind of like at the mercy of gravity once you've activated that second double jump. I think we've seen some ridiculous LG play coming out of RAISY today, actually using the Berserk to try and get out of there, but will he be able to survive? He's taken so much damage on the way. I think RAISY may be trying to chase this. Can he get there in time? Trying to head him off, walking into one rocket, but he's still got plenty of health. I don't think he's too fast, and there's no rockets left. Can he survive this? He's taken so much, but he gets it in the end.
That counterplay was almost perfect, actually. RAISY was so weak, but he was certain that he wanted to push in for that frag. And now with one champion each, RAISY is hoping that he can get himself his first round. Oh, the die roll comes in, and that is going to secure map number 1 for Dooi.
Before you can even finish your 7 suit, he's spread. I mean, look at that little grin. He's
he knows he's done good things now. Unreal stuff.
there are certain plays where you can't help but smile, right? And that was one of those times. My word.
Just as RAISY he would obviously think, oh, finally I can, I'm frag away from getting myself the first round of the map, but no, it just got slaughtered 3-0 and his breath taken away by that dire orb. My prediction has completely gone out the window.
Now, you know what I really, really like about the way Dooi is approaching Quake Champions so far is that, even if the community decides that there is a certain meta and there are certain champions that everyone should be playing all the time, dooi is kind of, I don't want to say breaking the mold, because there are players using all these champions, but I mean, Ranger, Clutch, consistently as well, but they're being put to amazing use. We're being essentially reminded how dangerous Ranger still is in the right hands. He may not get picked all the time, but he can still get the job done, and that is a ridiculous comeback.
I genuinely don't know why we don't see more players using the Ranger. He's such a versatile champion in himself. Gotta say though, the Clutch wasn't that impressive from dooi. That's definitely not where he did all the work. I think his Doomslayer and his Ranger were exceptional versus RAISY, but Clutch, it was a nice touch for us to get to see it happen, but he wasn't able to get the frags really.
I think a big part of that also came down to how well RAISY was sort of countering the Clutch, because he was going Anarchy first. He would sort of keep that distance, and the second he would see dooi make the play, go in with the shield, RAISY would pretty much just run away until the shield vanishes, and then when it's down, that's your time to go in. Clutch has that big body. Yes, he's fast, but Anarchy's still faster, and that's pretty much just making it a non-issue. However, he still had the Doomslayer and he still had the Ranger, so he still had those fantastic champions to deal with it, regardless of how Clutch was performing.
No, exactly, and I think that maybe comes down to sort of historically, RAISY would have had to deal with a lot of Clutches in the past, and he would have honed down his style for that.
Once upon a time, the Clutch meta was a thing.
It was. doooi's going with it again, though, here on Blood Run. He's going to be picking the Doomslayer afterwards, Nyx and Anarchy for RAISY. I'm expecting the Ranger last for dooi.
I mean, this is Blood Run as well, right? This is one of those maps where Ranger has been so popular, even since day one. Does he even need to think about it, I wonder?
He's not going with Ranger. No Ranger for dooi. This worries me a little bit. It's one of his star champions, and I know that we talked about earlier in the tournament that, you know, don't rely too much on just one champion or anything like that. But he's honestly so good at it, and he's had such an impact with it in a lot of his duels that I think it's a trick you can't avoid. Maybe he's just trying to prove something to us.
He could be doing that on one hand, but on the flip side, I think Ranger had such a specific way where dooi would remain unpredictable, because at a moment's notice, he could get that insta-kill. And there's no getting around how consistently he was able to land that. Now, if RAISY was going to be thinking, right, I need to have an answer for Ranger, I need to have an answer for Ranger, the fact that he had picked his entire team composition before dooi picked the final champion, maybe he was expecting RAISY to try and almost like build his team around Ranger being a threat, and now he's gone with Nyx instead, which will completely change things up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge possibility. We're just going to have to see how doooi's going to be able to handle this. I like that we've not got the Solag anymore from RAISY, and he's gone to the Doomslayer, but as you say, but let's get into game, guys. It's map number 2 in the semi-finals between RAISY and dooi. RAISY is currently a map down and is under pressure and at risk of being eliminated. I'm on RAISY to begin with.
dooi has just been on superb form. I mean, he really has, just demonstrating no fear, regardless of who he's against.
And that's it. You don't want to, just because it's a name in front of you that you're going against that may have experienced X amount, you don't want to be treating that any differently and want to be playing your game. Rail going to be missing just about there from RAISY.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising sometimes. You know, Clutch is very dangerous, but he has pretty much the largest hitbox in the game. So in this kind of scenario where the rails will trade back and forth, he's probably going to be one of the most vulnerable to eating those every time. Obviously, commentators curse RAISY's missed the first 2, but you get my drift.
I say it's almost worth commentating the rails you miss on Clutch more than the ones you hit. Oh, shield was used just then. But
very prematurely. Maybe he was trying to control the rocket instead. I mean, RAISY's been forced to use his injection.
Well, he's going to take that information and he's going to feel very happy about that. This is where he's going to try and move in and do some extra bits of damage. He's down below. LG, tickle him a little bit. Can he move through this choke point? Not very easily, and not before he's just run away.
Yeah, it's that air dodge that Clutch has access to. You know, sometimes you have to get that little burst of speed from standing still. Clutch can pretty much hit that max speed so quickly down that hallway. It's kind of hard to pin him down.
And doooi's been quite trigger happy, I think, with his shield. Well, I think it's a good thing, because when you're jumping onto the heavy armor and stuff, you don't want to take loads of damage, lose the heavy armor, get an even bigger net loss on health and armor anyway. So as long as he's picking up those hourglasses and not running into traps later, it's all fine.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's using the shield for control more than he's using it for frags right now. You know, if he's able to go near heavy, normally you'd see people hit with those rails or the LG. If he's got the shield up, you can't really damage him at all. And then if you try and fight while he's got the shield, he's going to be in the advantage. And he's sprung the trap!
He didn't hang around, though. He ran backwards, and RAISY was able to escape from that. That was really the perfect conditions for dooi to find himself a frag up.
I do feel like, you know, he's staying on top of those hourglasses. He's consistently having that shield back pretty quick. And if Anarchy bumps into Clutch in these small corridors where there is the shield up, even without the shield, look at how quickly he's able to dodge those rockets because of the air dash.
No, that was brilliant from him. He was taking some damage himself, but he had so much stack to deal with. But he's going to be all golden. He's got the Nyx to go versus the shield's not up just yet. And the rocket.
No.
Oh, he rocketed himself in the end.
Yeah, maybe expected to. Maybe I'll take Nyx down with me, but a little bit too far away. Unfortunately, actually losing the clutch in that scenario is a bit unfortunate against Nyx, seeing as clutch can obviously see a ghost walk Nyx while the shield is active.
Yeah, shame from him. Even a mutual frag he would have loved to have gotten, as it was so low together before the final shots were fired.
Definitely.
Now, RAISY spotting that Mega is up. Can he put any extra pressure on it? Stepping forward, going to see the Mega taken, but should be able to get the heavy armor.
Oh, RAISY almost missing that one.
A little bit sketchy on the ledge for a second, but he's going to find him. Oh, he misses that rail just about, and he will just be recognized that he's used the Ghost Walk. So I wonder if there's going to be any added pressure now applied from dooi.
I think going down like here, you know, going towards Mega is going to be infinitely more risky as long as Nyx does not have that defense mechanism. And doi's shown us that he's not afraid to be aggressive. And even now he's springing that trap. He's just sitting there patiently waiting. If he goes towards heavy, this might be where dooi decides to pull the trigger.
Oh. Rockets on the edge. dooi not a terrible position, as it's hard to commit for RAISY just then. He's going to find him again. Damage, look at this. No Berserk going to come out though. He's just going to take him down with a shotgun.
I mean, Doom guy with a super shotgun, that's no surprise.
Yeah, wow, wonderfully executed there from dooi. And the way that he was leaping around, I thought he wasn't Berserk for just a second.
But I feel like his actual just, you know, the one-on-one combat, you know, when it comes to my rockets need to land better than your rockets do, he currently has that edge.
Armor going to be up in a moment. Able to do any more damage. Wow, he
Nice.
finds the rail anyway. dooi is landing shots right now. He's going to break out of that one. Recognizes that he needs a few more resources himself, and that he's only 50 seconds away from taking this first round.
That's always going to be a great advantage there for dooi, because if he uses his Berserk to escape in some of these scenarios, it's going to force RAISY to try and chase him down, perhaps with the same thing, keeping him away from Mega. But now it's going to be risky. He gets to the Mega at the last minute, so he's going to be able to take a couple more rails, using that rocket jump just to escape, and actually head him off. He's going for the fight.
Oh,
No!
That mid-air there from RAISY as well to secure the frag. Seriously aggressive from dooi. Not sure that I condone such movements, as he was only 30 seconds away from making it onwards.
I can only assume he must have just been so confident in the fight that, you know, even if timer was on his side, he probably thought he could win the fight regardless and just win through frag limit. Unfortunately, it just didn't go to plan.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, seeing red in your eyes, at some point just say, you know what? You're better off than me in this instance. Let's hold on to later. Oh, we are about to hit a sudden death. But needless to say, next frag is going to determine who's going to win round one anyway.
So this is where things get quite interesting. You know, dooi kind of had that. That was his round to lose for sure. And now how does he recover?
He's going to have to be pretty stable. He was just hiding over there on the armor and caught RAISY off by surprise. So I guess he's answering the questions for us. Some solid traps are definitely going to be helpful.
And even though he got caught off guard, he wasn't forced to use his Ghost Walk. So he's going to have that for the next fight too.
So rails that he's landing are unreal right now. RAISY constantly under pressure. We've got the heavy to look at in just a moment. And it's actually dooi. He's standing all over it.
Just trying to make sure. I think he's still confident in his ability to take these fights, right? Oh, just waiting for him to Mega. Even though Mega was nowhere near about to appear, he was still ready for him to be down there.
The thing is, dooi can hear what he's doing around the edges of the map, so he's just standing there and waiting for him to come into line of fire, landing
like
a little bit of chip damage. Hurrah.
It's a great position to be on the map, you know, that sort of like top middle area.
Oh, the damage almost able to get a follow-up. Fortunately for RAISY, he lands some damage so that he can mitigate some of the pressure that would otherwise be applied.
Here we go. Heavy's about to spawn. RAISY, I think he's be looking towards it, or is he just, no, he's given it up. And now he's the one trying to spring the trap. Yeah, at the last minute. I'm just going to get out of there.
There's a lot of mind games, I feel, going on between the two players at the moment. I mean, despite them sort of moving around the map and RAISY at some speed, they are trying to desperately think, where on earth is one another going to be likely to stand, likely to let up traps, or to how are we going to be approaching the items?
Looks like doi's actually staying patient. I wonder if he's going to push on this. Tactically avoiding the super shotgun so not to make noise.
Yeah, that's it. Finds him. Going for the rail there is very ambitious, but can have some good effect. Eventually goes for the armor, and there is going to be the Mega in just a second. It's like, it's almost too good to be true, and avoids that rail, so
very important.
In charge.
Very, very important. He's able to actually get both those items without taking a roll. Does take one now, though. It's completely uncontested, undoing some of that work.
I think part of the reason we're seeing it such a... Oh, hold on a second. Could have an explosive moment just here. The armor's not up for a while, and RAISY's going to have to get out of here. Is there going to be a rail to follow? And dooi not able to land anything, and it's hard for him to justify aggression with no Ghost Walk. What I wanted to say was that maybe RAISY is contributing to how slow this game's being played, just because he knows he got 3-0'd. He wants to really make for certain that he's going to get his foot off the ground well,
for sure,
and take the first round.
Well, doi's made some aggressive plays in the previous map. We actually saw Vu do something like this very similar yesterday, where he's pretty much challenged, I dare you to be patient. I'll be patient for as long as it takes. When will you have that one instance? But this might be the round, but not. Opting just to stay safe, waiting for the heavy and take it instead.
Good spot at the top. Rocket, nice little splash damage, actually getting rid of a decent amount of overstack.
But I feel like this round's going to be really important data for RAISY to see just how patient dooi is prepared to be. However, that was a painful rail. You saw him go through, so I think he might try and chase this one.
I believe we've seen in some qualifiers that we know how patient dooi can be. A couple of hours patient at some rates.
Absolutely.
Memories of Chance versus dooi.
It's one of our slowest matches of all time, I believe.
Yeah,
that was a marathon.
Indeed. Well, we're going from what was one of the quickest of the day to already probably the second longest round we've had of the tournament.
I mean, it shows versatility in the talent, right? It shows the versatility of how these guys can approach each map differently.
Well, RAISY with an enormous stack at the moment. Trying to get eyes on him. This player's determined to lay a trap of some sort. I just can't find dooi. They're just struggling to run. Well, RAISY's struggling to run into dooi, and I think that dooi is deliberately waiting for the right moment to bite. It's going to be armor taken by dooi.
And a no damage returned.
Oh.
And even then, caught him, but the Mega will allow dooi to stay healthy for now.
He doesn't. I think that would have been a good opportunity for him to get something done. If he can get some entry damage here, he can justify aggression. He has to make a play at the moment, and RAISY knows those two other health bubbles aren't going to be safe, so he's going to edge over to another side of the map.
You saw just how quickly dooi attempted to go in there and land those final shots before he went around the corner. The second dooi feels like a fight might be in his favor, he is straight in there.
RAISY being very evasive. And we're looking at a possible exchange on items now. A little chip damage on the rockets, nothing significant at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's why he's sort of staying true to that sort of middle of the map. He's not going in until he sees that magic sort of like, 70, 80 plus. Oof.
Ghost Walk used. RAISY retaining a lot of stack at the moment. This is certainly his chance.
That was almost a beautiful shot.
Trying to be a bit more aggressive with the rail angles. The rotation of items about to respawn, but he can't quite find him. Here we are, Mega and Heavy about to go up. RAISY might be able to secure both of them, which is going to be real hard work for dooi.
Yeah, I mean, before that point, I actually really did like doi's evading there, and now things just got really difficult. And of course, he's going to chase it down. He's got Berserk if he needs it, but to be honest, with the amount of weapons he's got, he needs one more shot. dooi with the last minute Ghost Walk.
I love the fact that he was turned around to make sure he knew when he was going to be in rail angle, just to be certain that the Ghost Walk wasn't going to be wasted.
I mean, it's all about optimization, right, at this level. If you waste a Ghost Walk when it's like a 6-minute sudden death.
Now, this is at the moment, this is RAISY's round to lose. His controller's been impeccable. He's taking more rotations.
And doi's now in a difficult position where RAISY has so much control. As long as he's controlling it and remaining fully stacked, Doomslayer has so much stack compared to Nick. So if dooi tries to challenge this, it's a bit of a mountain to climb.
The problem is for RAISY when he's trying to chase when the Ghost Walk's down, doi's been quite quiet and is just listening out for where the footsteps and the jumps are coming from. So he's able to pick up and track where RAISY is well and move around the map accordingly until his Ghost Walks back up.
And he's just giving so much respect just in case dooi tried to get back into the fight, but he's just going to use that as an opportunity to just get both items once more, and this level of control he's adapting.
He's trying to think, these traps that he's trying to lay down, where he's deciding to sneak. I mean, it's alternating into different areas of the map, but nothing has come to fruition just yet. dooi going near one of the
instant
exits.
Jump back the second he heard those footsteps.
The Ghost Walk, aggressive play, but direct rockets. This is super dangerous for dooi, and that was not a good attack. He tried to make a play on one of the items because he'd be completely out of the control game for so long. So you can maybe feel a bit of impatience coming, and RAISY could finally bite and finally lock down the round. It looked as if he deserved for so long.
And I feel like that is amazing data for RAISY, because we talked about, it's almost like a game of showing him, in this tournament, how patient are you prepared to be? And that's his answer. 7 minutes later, he just decided something had to happen, and it just didn't go well at all.
Yeah.
But RAISY now will know that.
We're going to have the shield up in a second. These rockets, unbelievable. I don't know what dooi was doing yet. He didn't have the rocket launcher himself, but he decided that he would allow himself to be deleted off the map. Oh, the rocket's returning fire, and that is going to be RAISY getting countered immediately from the Doomslayer.
I feel like if you're going to lose one of your best champions like so quickly, even though we haven't seen a huge amount from Clutch yet, being able to return fire in just as quick fashion is going to be an amazing morale boost.
Oh, the rail to follow up isn't quite able to make it. dooi was very good on the read there, knowing exactly where RAISY wanted to go, using the Ghost Walk.
RAISY's still not in the greatest of positions. He's still one rail. He's just picked up the armor, but that could have very quickly been an insta-frag if that magical rail came through.
Can he lay down a trap over these areas? No, I think that RAISY may have heard the drop down to the bottom. Heavy, though, coming up in a second. Ghost Walk is available for him.
These rails aren't quite hitting their mark. RAISY's rails haven't been 100% in this round so far. But I feel like, we've seen how much of one extreme or the other hitting those rails can be, right? If you miss the rails, you just kind of allow the opponent to just freely run around. But on the flip side here, dooi lands a single rail. Now RAISY's in a very bad spot. He's got to be so careful about how he approaches. It makes fighting for those power-ups such a major risk. And now dooi looking really pretty on the health and armor.
dooi needs to sort out his control again. Nice work over there, but he's going to find him Ghost Walk. This is going to be a frag over here for dooi.
I loved the rocket jump in combination with the double jump just to get that extra height. That's just the awareness of when you play champions, for as long as some of these players do. They have these little tricks.
I don't think that RAISY was expecting him to execute it the way that he did. I thought that was done really well. He drops the jump just then, lands one of the rails though. Can he follow up with another? He has one rail left.
And he's got to use it wisely.
Yeah. He almost made an excellent job of that. Algae on Algae. This is a lot of pressure though on dooi, and he's going to regret going forward with such a small stack compared to what RAISY has.
It's just kind of insane how good RAISY's LG has been today.
Oh wow, going into the punch. Not going to be able to see him though through his ability, and finds him back at the end.
But I think seeing as like Nyx had just spawned, she doesn't really like getting punched in the face too much. That 75 damage punch, I mean, that's a huge chunk of damage.
Oh, exactly. What's RAISY's done nice though, I think he was looking towards maybe going either chasing or going towards the rockets, but decided I want to get rid of some of the hourglasses because he's just used the Ghost Walk, just to reduce the time, or increase the time till he has his next Ghost Walk available.
Normally, if he's able to get the hourglasses and keep the abilities away, if they've both not got an ability and they fight in this kind of situation, he's pretty much got like double the health dooi currently sits on.
Oh yeah, you'd certainly expect RAISY to come out on top. And this is a similar match to what we just saw, similar round to what we saw last time when we had a Doomslayer going versus the Nyx. And dooi going to have to find a way to turn things around. He can't lock himself off the items like he did last time. He's got to be far more present on it.
And it kind of looks like dooi, you would have seen the Ghost Walk get popped. That's going to be a free heavy for the time being. Tries to snatch it up, but unfortunately that was a horrendous situation to be in. No Ghost Walk, falling down the ledge. I mean, there was no escape.
No, exactly. Very well played there by RAISY, closing that one out and using his stack to his advantage. We are possibly going to see a 3-0 the opposite way round that we saw in the first map. Just one round to be played here.
But it would be incredibly fast map number one, but a significantly slower map number two. But again, it just comes to show that we talked about how it was going to be a clash of play styles. It's definitely what I've been seeing, but RAISY, normally on the flip side, he was playing unbelievably fast and would then slow things down. I feel like right now, it's kind of like the opposite direction. Yeah.
What the pummel? Oh my god, dooi was just waiting for him. How did he have such a good read?
Normally RAISY's the one that does that.
Yeah, that was unbelievable there. And we've got the pummel again. Oh, RAISY, no mate, you're not going to be able to do what he just did to you.
That was quite a fast turnaround.
That was one of the sickest reads I've seen so far. Looking for a mid-air to close us out. We've got the punches coming out. One more.
He is literally flying in the air because of that lock-on. He didn't touch the ground for a solid 5 seconds.
Absolutely sick stuff. dooi though, stacks remain the same between the players. Limited amount of ammunition here. 2 rockets. One's perfect. Oh, and he can't follow up though. RAISY is going to be able to get himself back into this round a little bit. And what I want to say earlier is that Clutch wasn't picked first. We've got him now. Is there going to be to any good effect? RAISY should really try and control the rocket launcher.
Definitely, and I think that's one of the reasons, like, you know, his first call to action is obviously it didn't have much ammo himself, but if he can control this rocket launcher, that is such a magical weapon that Clutch definitely needs, and if you can keep that away from him, you're really denying the best tool he has to win a fight.
Well, he's very rapidly failed at doing that anyway,
Yep.
because
he's
got it.
He's already there. And he's flying in, he's waiting no time. I'm not sure how much the Berserk really is going to do versus the shield.
What the hell was that? He got the turnaround somehow and has taken the Mega. I think dooi was maybe expecting to get more success from all of that. All of a sudden, RAISY has 2 big items and has got a huge chance at closing down this frag and tying up the scores on this round.
That was a nice little play, but and he took so much damage on the LG because this is going to be Clutch. One of the easier champions to hit with the LG for sure, especially in the hands of RAISY.
And dooi, he kind of dug his own grave there. He also decided to be quite aggressive, where RAISY had all the right weapons that he needed to get the job done just then. And we are back down to it, a Doomslayer versus Nyx to determine this round. RAISY looking for the reverse swoop over here.
Oh,
whoa.
Punching the air.
He's going to break away from that one. But he's forcing out the Ghost Walk. RAISY can possibly be eyeing up map number 3.
Yeah, this has definitely been a bit more of an unorthodox map, but
I think it's a shame for dooi after such an amazing first frag to be now at enormous risk of losing out on this 3rd round.
I think it just sort of puts things in perspective how one sort of misplay or one error in judgment, being too aggressive at one point or trying to fight someone who has more equipment than you do with no ability available and stuff like that. You can be punished so heavily for those errors in judgment.
Completely. RAISY trying to lay down a little bit of a trap himself. Could hear what dooi was doing on the corners of the map.
But I think he can really, if he wants to, he can start playing the defensive game if he needs to. He's already been aware of how defensive works, but doesn't even need to try it. Just like that.
Shot. That was an amazing combo there from RAISY. Had his aim on pinpoint precise. He's going to get the 3-0 himself now on map number 2, which wasn't Corrupted Keep. So we're seeing some very peculiar things manifesting itself here in the semi-finals between dooi and RAISY.
I find that this has been by far one of our most interesting series. It's just been the kind of plays and decisions that you just don't see made every day. And I think normally, you know, even that moment where the really early bubble came through and RAISY was on the receiving end, normally RAISY is the one that does that.
Yeah.
We're just seeing some certain decisions that you never really see done to RAISY that are 100% happening to him now.
Exactly. I've got to say, though, there was no dooi Ranger.
That, I feel like that played a big factor.
I would have preferred him to use the Ranger instead of Clutch or instead of Nyx. Either of those. He did great with Doomslayer, but otherwise a bit lackluster on Blood Run.
I wonder if that really means that the question is, like, do we see Ranger get picked now? Is that going to be one of the, like, automatic changes where it put in... It's not even one of those things where, like, you know, it's a comfort pick. We saw in quite clearly how much work Ranger was putting in. Does he try and give himself that kind of ace in the hole again?
No, I'm going to say I'm 100% certain he's going to be picking Ranger next. I think he's got to let go of Clutch, so goodbye to that one. And I want to see him maybe deviate, maybe bring out an Anarchy or something like that. Maybe I think the Nyx, he could try and make it work. It's just that when it ended up being a Nyx versus Doomslayer combat, he was never successful. 3 out of 3 times he failed.
I think he looked visually quite uncomfortable because what we saw in that ridiculous overtime round was the fact that RAISY was not only being super patient, but he was pretty much using his presence to take those items consistently. And then the one time dooi, like 7 minutes later, goes, maybe I should try and make something happen. It just lost within seconds.
There's a time and a place for moves like that, but you've got to manipulate your opponent around the map first before you can just openly do it right in front of their face to try and steal an item. It's just not going to work that way. We are going to be getting Ruins of Sarnath first. It is going to be Anarchy picked first by RAISY, not unexpected. Doomslayer, he is going to go with the Clutch again. We're going to get a Nyx now from RAISY with the Doomslayer. That's standard. And the Ranger.
There we go.
Brilliant. Okay. So I was 100% certain. He left it to the last pick, which made me feel a little bit uneasy, but we are going to get it.
But I think, like, using Clutch on Blood Run and then using Clutch on Ruins, he's got a little bit more open space. I think some of these confrontations are going to be a little bit different as well. Blood Run is pretty much point blank at all times, whereas Ruins of Sarnath, if there's one map you tend to actually see someone go with Clutch, it's probably going to be this map. So I'd be wondering to see if he has any sort of like different positions to take with this champion here.
Well, there are 10 hourglasses on the map, each hourglass reducing the cooldown of your ability by 10%. So there's definitely plenty of opportunities for them to have the shield up on the regular. So, well, we'll have to see if that plays out, because so far his clutch hasn't really had any impact whatsoever. But guys watching, definitely watch out for the Ranger if you haven't been tuning in for the early rounds.
That's the one I'd be scared of. Yeah. And it's normally you see players go for telefrags and they'll get maybe 1 per map. We pretty much see it's almost a 100% success rate. And they take us all by surprise. You get 1 frag and he just fresh off the spawn, he pops it, and there you go. We might have that, but either way, there's going to be 1 map each going into Ruins of Sarnath. This is the be-all, end-all. 2 Maestro boys going head-to-head, and I would be very scared of Dewey's Ranger.
Well, let's see who we're going to be on first. It's not going to be his Ranger, but it will be his clutch. Hasn't got access to the rockets earlier, and I think he's just talked his way out of 2 major items, possibly. It looks like RAISY hasn't recognized it. He hadn't taken up his own. But there's an interesting split now between when the major items are going to be spawning.
Yeah, that's a solid 10 seconds in between the 2.
This could funk things up a fair amount moving into the next couple of rotations. But we'll see, because Dewey's going to feel at ease having access to the rocket launcher.
But now if he goes down towards Heavy to try and take this fight, if it takes place, he's going to have the shield. And on that subject, can he chase it down? I wonder, no.
Oh, he's looked a bit slow there. I don't know, it's like he's walking in mud or something like that. He just couldn't quite push out and get the extra damage needed. He holds on to huge amounts of overstack, so he looks very healthy. But if you're going up versus a fast RAISY on an Anarchy who's got the lightning gun, you're still vulnerable without that shield.
And I think the shield is going to play such a major part here, you know, seeing as not as much on the Mega, but in the Heavy location where it's like closed walls, very limited places to run. If he's got the shield down there, he can quite easily pincer you between 2 places you don't want to be.
Ooh, Dewey starting to change the direction he wants to go a little bit with that one, finding himself behind on the items. But to be fair, when you've got this level of overstack and you know, 1 health point and 1 armor point is ticking down once every 2 seconds, you can hold on to it for a couple of rotations and still be very healthy.
I mean, just take a look at the stats, right? Even though RAISY got both of those items, Dewey still has more health than us.
Yeah, he's got absolutely loads. So now this overstack's finally starting to wear out, but he's able to now regain some of the control on the map.
He's got the shield if he needs it, but I like the fact that he was expecting the jump pad to come through, so not pulling the trigger on the shield just yet. He's going to try and save it for later.
I think it's going to be up in a second. Wants to get up the bounce pad and then do a little jump over. We'll see RAISY for the first time in a little bit of moments, trying to follow it up, and he's just absolutely prevented RAISY from moving anywhere. Those are flawless rockets, securing himself the first frag of the map.
And now he's gone on to that Nyx, so things get a little bit more interesting. Just to remind people at home, obviously Clutch, when he has his shield activated, can actually see an invisible Nyx. So we may see that come into play, especially nearing these items where, you know, if RAISY gets caught off guard, he tries to defend himself with the invisibility. Obviously it's not going to apply here because the shield isn't up, but who knows?
Yeah, in the end, RAISY gives him a bit of breathing room. Besides, I think that the shield is coming up in a moment, so let's not challenge too aggressively.
Yeah, he looked like he was being snuck up on there. He didn't turn around for quite a while, but here comes the shield one more time. If he gets caught during the downtime, it might come through, but the LG trying to survive just long enough, but he cannot! And that's what I talked about, right? If you've got the shield down there, that is not this part of the map that you want to deal with the shield.
And the fact that the heavy armor spawned as well as he went through it at the same time, I mean, it was perfect conditions then for Dewey. And this is the best we've seen from his clutch the entire series. And what a time to properly unleash with him here on such a crucial map to take you to the grand finals of all.
The problem is, it makes fighting for the heavy armor a massive risk. So if you don't even bother trying to contest, you're now allowing Clutch to have the heavy armor all the time. And even that is a stack you don't want to deal with. He's coming in, he's trying to pull in. RAISY uses the Berserk to try and escape, but he's down to 60 health.
This is crazy damage that Dewey's getting under, but look, we're trying to get some return fire. He's missing an important rail shot and only 5 health left. Oh my god, the 1 damage rocket that came out, and RAISY is finally going to get rid of that clutch.
Now RAISY gonna have to try and be very... Yep, and that was an amazing rocket to defend himself with, because I think you know that Dewey's going, well, if he's quite weak, I've got that Dire Orb ready. One of those will sort him out.
See who is sneaking up to him as well. Oh, the Dire Orb comes out, 12 health left, but Dewey is going to take down the frag and secure himself the first round of this important map.
I mean, even if you don't get the telefrag and the Dire Orb still hits, that's still a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, that was brilliant, and he had him exactly where he wanted there to follow up with the rockets at the end. Dewey in good form right now. Wouldn't it be a shock to the system for the community to see dooi getting into the grand finals and up against RAISY, someone who before the tournament was ranked #1 in the world on rankings.
And it's just through the grind too, you know, no matter what happens here, RAISY has been able to show the entire world that he is still a top contender. But I mean, dooi, if he can add this head to his belt, I mean, crazy result.
Completely, and I think he might have just seen clutch there, yep. A little bit of a double take. It does find him in the end, and we're gonna get a exchange here on the items, essentially, and this should try and lead towards forcing the shield out a little bit.
Yep, and I think that's exactly why RAISY didn't even bother trying to fight. You know, if I try and fight and he pops the shield here, I'm probably dead, so he just ignored him completely.
Now try and get as many of these rails going as possible. Maybe even force him to get the shield out just from a long distance so that he can't use anything later on.
Because he was able to get around the clutch quite comfortably on the previous maps by doing exactly that, you know, waiting for the shield to be popped and then outrunning it. And then when it's gone, that's when he goes in. It's just right now, when the fights are likely to take place, doi's just in a position where it's just not as much of a possibility to escape.
RAISY playing a lot more carefully in this instance, and he's not been playing around so many of the corners now where clutch can just stop him in his tracks and hit those rockets, which is where he fell last time.
And I love this idea that even if this clutch falls, we've seen how strong his Doomslayer and Ranger can be. So this is just one of many threats that RAISY has to deal with.
Oh, okay.
There's the shield pop to try and secure the Mega. But actually, is he changing his mind to try and get heavy first?
I think he might regret using the shield so prematurely just then. Still got an enormous stack and is now hunting down all of these time shards. He's going to have a couple more over here. That's reducing his cooldown by 60%, and the shield is back in play. And I really think that RAISY should have been a bit more on the ball in terms of denying, or not necessarily denying the time shards, but at least being there to do some damage and have some pressure and presence.
Because the issue is, now he's taken one of those rails, the shield's now available. And Nikki hasn't got a lot of health. There's pretty much no armor here to collect. If he catches him off guard now, one rail will send him out. Gets the armor. Ooh, and the crucial miss. And there you go. I mean, Clutch has so much health. If I hear the teleporter, yeah, I'll rocket jump. Why not? Yeah. I've got the health to work with.
More than enough at this stage.
And I actually don't think RAISY has even once risked that heavy this round so far. If he has any idea that doi's there, he's just not even trying.
It's such a nasty place to get caught out, and he just wants to completely avoid that. And this is how cautious RAISY is being at the moment. That's more the reason that we're seeing this round being drawn out quite a lot. And Mega's going to be up in a moment, but he's decided he wants to be aggressive, use his shield to some effect, but now the shield's run out completely, injection's being used, and RAISY, he might be able to turn around in this fight, but he decided he still doesn't want to go up against him.
Wow. Actually, RAISY, yeah, just trying to get out of there completely.
He needs to attack now. He's absolutely important. He's got to know that these hourglasses are going to be taken, and he's got to punish him. But he drops down for some reason.
I'm not so sure RAISY's still... I don't think this is quite his course of action. Is to understand when the shield's going to be down. It will kind of make doi's current pathing a bit more predictable because he kind of has to go for these hourglasses to make sure he's got it for the next fight. I'm just not sure if RAISY's caught sight of it yet.
I think this is the problem I'm having at the moment with RAISY. He's not capitalizing when he should be. This is why I think at the moment I'd personally change my prediction and think that dooi is going to take this map and this series. I just think he's being a lot more on point with the fundamentals and biting when the opportunity arises.
Yeah, slight change of plans though. Instead of going off towards those hourglasses and try and collect them, instead he's actually opting to go down here. He's trying to spring the trap. Maybe he's actually looking to get this final frag. He's only got 1 minute left.
Yeah, this is... I'm not sure. I think that clutch is a good first pick to have, and I like that dooi uses clutch first. But when you're in a sudden death environment, this is where things can get really sketchy. One misuse of the shield can cost you the series. And maybe that's actually a strategy from RAISY. Maybe he's like, I don't want to kill the clutch yet. I want to go into overtime and only have him to deal with. That could be very smart.
Yeah, it would be a legit strategy. I mean, like if you can sort of like punish that one mistake.
Yeah. I mean, he's got all the resources, all weapons that he needs to work with. He's kind of bouncing back and forth in terms of control. And all he needs to do is force the shield out like now. But if he's not able to move or do anything, then what on earth is going to happen to you?
I mean, that's the one time he goes down near heavy. The exact same thing happens again.
And now all I can think about is why didn't you punish him earlier? Why didn't you make sure you got the frag then and were at least able to get an advantage going towards the 5-minute mark? That was a misplay from RAISY and great capitalization here from dooi.
It's almost like, you know, you were talking about how he was potentially waiting for that one mistake and then would punish it when the sudden death was engaged. But right here, you just look, he was popping the injection when he was stuck in the air, and in between the jump pad and him, you've just got a clutch with a massive shield. It's very hard to get past. The one time he went down into heavy and he was punished with an entire round for it. dooi is on match point.
This is absolutely massive for him. It looks like RAISY, is he going to be launching the aggression a bit more?
Dear.
Well, the shield might come out in a second, so he's got to get the hell away.
Now he's taking a huge amount of damage. Vulnerable to a rail at this health. Fresh off the round, there's no way he's going to be able to sort of inject himself to a plus 80 HP, so...
Yeah. That won't be happening anytime soon. Oh, the follow-up. Huge amounts of damage, actually. And dooi hasn't even had to use the shield or anything. You're going to catch him out of here. Oh, I can't quite land a rail.
Yeah, looked for it, but just couldn't get the angle I think he was after.
Going to top himself up on the rockets. He might run into him in just a second as he sees him.
But now the issue is, if RAISY tries to escape, Clutch being as fast as he is, I mean, he can keep up. He's one of the few champions that can actually keep up with Anarchy.
He's going to be late onto this armor. Or he's might find him in just a second, actually. Can he slow him down? Going into the shield, and that is perfect execution with the rockets.
It's just that is one of the worst rooms in the world for RAISY right now.
Yeah.
Because consistently can't get anything going in that heavy location. And even if he's popping the shield and chasing it down, you'll notice that RAISY isn't even trying to fight back. He's just trying to get out. But the one time he would probably try and turn around, it still would just be a futile attempt to survive.
Clutch is king at the moment. No shield for him to use, and he's just going to try and move away. A great starter rocket over here. The machine gun, unbelievable clutch rail there, no pun intended, for dooi, as he's got 6 health left.
Down to that Doomslayer. I mean, there's so much work for him to do because the clutch has been such a problem. But even if RAISY takes out the clutch, he's got the Doomslayer. The Ranger, the dooi Ranger is yet to be seen.
That rail was so important for dooi to land. One more bullet of the machine gun and he would have gone down. And it would definitely have hit. It had to be that frame that he fired and landed the rail shot.
This is such a horrendously scary position because, I mean, if RAISY wants to stay in this fight, does he even try and go towards heavy anymore? If he does, he might die again. But if he gives up the heavy armor to Clutch, I mean, that's in many ways even worse, but that's a crucial rail.
That was nice. After the armor's getting taken, he's got to start putting the pressure on. RAISY's been playing so passive and defensively. It's like he's just completely changed personality in this match versus dooi. And for some reason, dooi had his back turned for a moment. The shield's going down, and that
was really peculiar.
Easy peasy for RAISY.
Well, he's back in the fight. He's back in the fight for now, but there you go, dooi. The Ranger comes into play.
Oh, God.
I know, right? Everyone's thinking the same thing.
RAISY's going to be sweating at the moment. He's got rid of the robot that's been the bane of your life for so long, and now you've got to go up against his famous Ranger plays. Right, you've got 2 minutes in order to...
He's laying the trap.
Get something. Oh.
Now, you definitely see... I think this might be a bit of a risk going in with the Berserk here.
Ooh, that is very risky. You don't really want to go up too close. Looking for the Daro, but won't make it. What a sick rocket for RAISY to land. And there's still hope for him in the series still.
There's a couple of, I think there were a couple of judgments there. Obviously, I don't think that was necessarily a mistake by dooi. It was just a fantastic rocket by RAISY.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was really peculiar when he had the clutch and he was kind of looking in the wrong direction and then he just got peppered down before he even got anything on board. It's a very strange situation to be caught in.
Yeah, no, absolute insanity just there. But Doomslayer versus Doomslayer is a nice breath of fresh air compared to what we were getting on Bloodrun a lot, which was a Nyx and Doomslayer at the end. They're going to meet each other here, looking for mid-air rockets, but wow, RAISY, he gets the important shot right at the end to secure a frag. One more rocket on him, and it would have been there. Final spot for dooi.
And because dooi was in Berserk mid-air, he was in his line of sight, perfectly lined up. If that rocket missed, he was going to get punched in the face all day.
Absolutely spot on. Let's see how we are going to be getting onto in this round 4. RAISY.
Now RAISY's gone Nyx first instead, actually.
Interesting. I don't think this is a bad pick, although that Clutch can see Nyx in Ghost Walk. I actually think that Nyx has got some excellent mobility and can do a lot of good chip damage and have some surprise attacks as well. If Clutch doesn't know you're in Ghost Walk, they can still be in a lot of trouble.
Completely, and you know it could just be one of the extra many ways to force the shield out, which allows RAISY to go in later, which has been the problem he's had so far. Now there it is, but Unfortunately, dooi was not forced to use it. So for the next 40 seconds or so, if he catches him off guard, that's going to be difficult.
Hourglass has been taken. He's got to watch out at the moment, trying to find a way. Oh, that was a brilliant little juke. The rocket jump comes straight up, though, and there's 20 health left. The shotgun to chase him down. Dewey's like, I am not letting go of this opportunity. I'm taking you down no matter what.
Before we can even finish complimenting how good that wall jump was, here comes a clutch with a rocket jump.
Exactly. I think that RAISY probably felt it. He was styling it as well to escape, but yeah.
Before we can even finish giving yourself props, here he comes.
Yeah, precisely. Well, item's not up for a while, but shield is up.
And that's always going to be that main objective.
There's some good pressure. Finally, he's going in on this. The LG, what can he do with this? Looking to close it up with the rockets. Not much health remaining, but he can't land the shot in time.
Oh, my word. That was just so close to connecting.
Just there.
I feel like it was quite risky for RAISY to take that fight with the shield as well. That almost went wrong.
I think he saw it go up and he's like, no. Let's get out of there.
I think I'll give it a miss.
Problem is, he's allowed, again, so many hourglasses to get taken. I think that RAISY's missing a lot of tricks. And I was saying earlier that maybe he remembers how to go up against the clutch, but maybe only on one map or something like that. I just think he's missing out on so many tricks.
There's a possibility as well that because RAISY is actively not looking to sort of like head him off in that certain point, rail forcing. Now here we go, forcing the shield early. Even if he gets this armor, he's very weak. I mean, that's one of the best ways to deal with the shield, I think, in that instance.
I was like, RAISY was timing how much time was left on the shield, and dooi a little bit stubborn in the thinking that he was going to be able to get that. First rocket, not too bad. Looking for some LG damage, a lot of the double jumps to take care of. But Anarchy, I expect he's going to be able to get this kill in the end. There we go. One more champion left for dooi. It is the Ranger. But we could be going to that tiebreaker round.
I guess if there's one champion RAISY has access to that may have a better chance of dodging the telefrag. I mean, we're going to talk about the die roll because it's dooi. It's what he does at this moment. But
always a big part of the game when he's on there.
At least if there's one champion that's going to be a little bit more difficult to telefrag, it's probably going to be someone as fast as Anarchy, and that was a nice rail.
Yeah, mitigating the stack a lot. It seems that as soon as clutch isn't in play, he just does so much better.
For sure, and it's clearly one of those really obvious problems, but fortunately he's been able to deal with it, and in quite comfortable fashion too.
It's like you have certain precautions that you take when you go up versus a certain champion. I think there's just so many of them. They're like the sort of red sticky labels of warning him, and now he finally feels that he can bring some normality back to his duel game, although still being wary of that, the close range chaos that he can bring into play.
You've always got to be worried about dooi being weak, because no matter how low his health and armor may be, he's going to let that die orb rip. Even at 1 HP, he'll undo everything if he gets one of those telefrags. We almost saw side of that as well, where dooi was on quite low HP there, and he was still looking to push it just in case he turned around.
Well, dooi at the moment is the one playing patiently, hoping that in this last minute at some point, Anarchy's going to just walk around the corner and he's going to be able to pick up an easy kill with it. But this is great pressure at the moment from RAISY. And I think he's perfectly happy being a frag in the lead and just doesn't want to push it. He doesn't want to risk going against that dire orb. Finding him, trying a very, very optimistic dire orbs sent out just then.
Definitely. But then RAISY realistically has no reason to. Actually, this is quite risky because he's got lots of stack.
Oh, the good damage actually from dooi in the end, and RAISY is going to want to break away from that. Mega is going to be up, which is going to be difficult for dooi to challenge.
Doi's likely to get one more dire orb before this round is done. 20 seconds left, and he's got one more shot.
Well, Mega didn't get taken at all, in fact. I think RAISY just assumed that dooi would be aggressive onto it and would rather take a defensive position.
Yeah, he's going in. He has to make something happen. 10 seconds left.
He's over into the other hallway, and he's found him at the moment, looking for a dire orb, not going to get it, trying to get a rocket to immobilize him, but it won't happen, searching for the teleporter exit to the very last second. But this is it, Ketchup.
I mean, how many times are we going to say, this is that moment? This is that final round. It's been going back and forth so consistently. RAISY was significantly far down here, but it's just his ability to, in a couple of those rounds, deal with that major problem. However, he's going to have to deal with that major problem for one last time. doi's going to spawn fresh. He's got the mega health. He's got a rocket launcher. That's party time for Clutch.
You're damn right. And what's been amazing though about this series is we got the dooi with the 3-0 on Corrupted Keep, and we got over on Blood Run RAISY getting a 3-0 on dooi. And now 2-2, some balance here, and the duel can properly begin in this final round.
You can say evenly matched as often as you want, but this is one of those times.
Oh, this is a great battle between the two of them. You know what? At the end of the day, both being the Maestro gaming players, I think there's going to be laughs all around. Of course, there is going to be some personal pride at stake and your personal goals to get yourself to the final. But I know these guys have a good relationship together. Certainly have positive vibes, no matter what happens in this.
Oh yeah, no matter what, Maestro will be proud of what they've been able to achieve.
100%.
That's that heavy, and you know, I doubt we're really going to see RAISY down there. As long as Clutch is alive, I just don't know.
So let's just block off that side of the map and stick around in the upper corners. Mega taken, and Dooi waiting for some kind of information.
Yeah, I like how he's waiting for the information before he makes noise, right? You know, before I'm going to get the rail, and obviously he might hear it. I'm going to see where he is first, and then decide to pick it up.
Has he got a read at all? I think RAISY just heard him. Can't land a rail shot though. Gonna try and cut him off on one of the other ends, but RAISY also being patient.
Of course, is going down towards heavy. And of course, we don't see RAISY down here.
There's players at the moment looking to double their prize pool for getting through to the grand final.
Yeah, there's quite a chunk of change difference between.
I think you're looking at 8K instead of 4. So definitely a pretty penny to take home for them. And we've just got the shield out. He lands a rail. This is a lot of pressure right now for RAISY, but he's going to be able to withstand it.
He's taken some of those time shards, so already half, just cut off that cooldown. The next time they fight, I reckon Clutch is likely to have the shield back, and now he's been given another heavy. It's a great situation for Dooi.
Who would know that we were getting a Clutch and Ranger player looking at possibly getting into the grand finals of this?
I mean, it's an unpredictable game at times. Like, these players are still figuring out what works and what doesn't, and Dooi clearly knows something about this game that is working wonders.
Wow, this enormous stack once more. This is so much for RAISY to take down. He's going to have to do something extraordinary, trying to minimize that stack a little bit, but it's before the armor's taken. RAISY's got to find some rails on him.
The danger is the longer this round goes on, the more worried I actually do get for RAISY, because he did try and almost play a little bit of a defensive game before, and he just got caught out that one time, and in many ways that one time was all he needed.
He's not even going for damage, he's not turning around for it, he's just trying to make the only thing he's focusing on right now is he has the right position. And when he's got the right position, he said, right, now I can start doing some damage. Like this, from a good distance. He's not so vulnerable to Dooi, but at least he can start landing his own shots. But those rails before, that didn't mean anything. The rails have to land now, just shortly after the items have been taken.
I mean, do enough damage to Clutch that you're forcing him to use the shield, you know, just as a safety precaution, but even now he's taken a bunch of damage, and if he gets one up-close fight here and the shield is then forced, that will allow RAISY to then play his game. It's then going to be his turn to press the advantage.
And Dooi has got 100% understanding of what RAISY was up to just a moment ago. He's going to go here on the armor. We've got 1 minute and 20 seconds left, ladies and gents.
But, I mean, like, understandably, at no point has RAISY decided to go down and challenge, and oh, that's going to be a little bit scary. Here he comes, heading him off. What is the route?
He's not going to find him. We've got some double backs going on from RAISY. He's looking to secure himself those small armors. He'll take the one on the upper side, looking for a bit of rocket damage. Just not much damage exchange from RAISY. He's playing so scared against Dooi. I think at some point he's going to have to start taking just small risks just to make sure that he's doing some damage. And he's managing the health and the armor.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh, he just spotted, though, the corner of Dooi before going any further, where he would have been in a lot of trouble.
But this is so scary. Look at that consistent stack, and we have 30 seconds left until we're going into sudden death. I'm willing to call this a one-champion round, but as long as RAISY is essentially being timid to fight for these items, Clutch is staying more stacked than almost any other champion in this game.
Well, you've got the most stacked champion going up versus one of the weakest or lowest possible stacked champions. You see, this is the mind games that are required to go through. Oh, brilliant rocket. Finally, RAISY is putting on some pressure, and he goes down to get himself the heavy. Looks for some counterplay, but eventually will get the injection.
No.
What a rail there from Dooi. Can he close up on it? He found him there by the armor, but it's so difficult for him to close the gap.
Definitely. And now we're in the sudden death. He's likely to get this Mega as well.
He's found him. Oh, he can't land the shot. He's going to be turning around the corner. Find him over here with the shield. Is this go time right now for dooi? RAISY is going to be bricking it.
He needed to be kind of careful there too, because I mean, like, he actually piled in, but his stack really wasn't as high as it had been previously. And I think that's why he's a little bit timid to actually press. But hang on, he's added one rail, dooi.
This is big for RAISY. If RAISY can finally get to controlling those hourglasses a little bit, then we could see him have a really good job here and a chance to take himself to the grand finals. dooi, he's staring down a couple more hourglasses. He's got no armor though, nothing. And here comes the pressure at the moment from RAISY. He's got the shield out from dooi. He's got to know that he's got him very weak though. LG comes out. Brilliant damage just there from dooi.
He's got the objective he was after. The shield is down. Now if he wants to be aggressive, it's going to be way less of a risk. The heavy's going to be spawning as well. If he can fight for heavy, there's no shield here to make it a nightmare to deal with.
I think it's get heavy. All right, he's got the heavy. Ignore that. Now it's push in. Again, the hourglass is going to be on the side. Typical route. He's found it with the LG. I don't know how dooi can withstand this. He's going to go through the teleporter, surely, and find him on the side. Wants to get close, but has got to be careful of the lightning gun. He finds him anyway, and RAISY will take down dooi in the final round and send himself through to the grand finals.
That was a ridiculous finale. I find it how unbelievably fitting that the final play was RAISY conquering that clutch problem.
Yeah.
At the last minute, just caught him with the shield down, seconds in it, and at the last moment, he found his time to strike, and it's got him into grand finals.
Yeah, I perfectly explained that. Getting over that clutch problem in the end and sending himself to the grand finals. Jahar, we welcome you back over here.
Man. I don't think you guys could have put it any better. You were looking at one of the most stat champions versus one of the weakest champions. It was all about the hits, and I was thinking on that last shield, it was like, great, he's got shield again, he can run this out. And that LG came out of nowhere. Jeez, what a tense match. And even as RAISY was walking away from that one, he was just like shaking his head and like shaking it off too. There's a ton of stress going into that one.
I mean, if you're going into grand finals now, being able to show that you're able to be that composed, he's right. I mean, you say this after everyone, really, but he's riding so much of this confidence now going into the finals. It's a great look, and it's, you know, you don't really see him fight champions like that every day. dooi had such a unique play style as well. I feel like he's been able to conquer something truly unique. So going into the grand finals, I mean, like, he's going to be feeling pretty good about himself, I think.
Absolutely, and I was actually kind of wondering about the lack of Ranger in Blood Run there. I thought if any map, Blood Run would be where you would want to see it happen there. But let's take another quick look at the top 3 frags from this matchup. 3 of many, of course, here, but coming in at number 3, we've got dooi on Burial Chamber. Fantastic stuff, throwing in the orb.
Awesome.
And of course, we saw like one after the other there. And of course, as we moved into Blood Run, we saw a bit of a mix-up and
Perfect
just really,
selection.
really nasty play with the Rockets.
And I mean, this was that final moment, right? You know, where he actually opted to go in for the shield, but it was a bit too little, too late. Had lost so much health in that exchange.
Just kind of loading it up still, but we say hello to RAISY over here. You're in the grand final, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts at the moment?
I'm really happy that I could actually make a comeback, because dooi was playing really good with the clutch, and I did not expect to somehow counter him, but I managed to bait out his shield, and then I just chased him down with my LG, and it was kind of random. Like, it was really close. One of his rockets almost hit me directly when I was below 100 HP, and so I was lucky, I guess. But it worked out. So
I got to ask. I mean, like, I know we didn't see a huge amount from the clutch until the last minute. I mean, so obviously Ranger and clutch together, we saw a ridiculous amount of telefrags.
Yep.
When you're that far down, obviously I know you knew what the mission needed to be, which was to bait the shield out. But when you're that far down and you know that clutch has the stack ready to go, he's still got the shield. Like, what is running through your mind? Surely that must have been ridiculously scary to deal with.
it was, but I had to rail him a few times, and I tried to delay the spawns of the power-ups, so maybe I have a chance to get one of them, and so that I have a chance to somehow come back, and so that I did that. And when I actually got the control, then I tried to bait out his shield, and after I was successful with it, I just chased him down and tried to finish it. And so that's how I actually came up on top.
Brilliant.
Now, earlier on, you mentioned how much you played a lot with Kilson, so you really had like a lot of experience with him going into this. You were both, you and dooi were both recently signed on to Maestro. Have you had a lot of chance to like play each other, like even off of the tournament matches here?
No, the first time we played was here at the event, practicing against each other yesterday. And he was really strong. I didn't really expect him to play like this. Like, his play style is incredibly good. with his Ranger, Diaro kills. He killed me so many times, especially on Corrupted Keep. And his clutch is very good. It's incredible.
Now, it took you, it seems like, a long time to kind of come to grips with that clutch play, but of course, it paid off in the end there. I mean, earlier on, there was like a lot of rails being traded, but at some point, it looks like you both really slowed things down. Was that hard to do with Anarchy?
It was. It's not really my play style, but I try to adjust myself to his play style because there's no chance that I'm going to be aggressive against him. It's not going to work, so I have to adjust my play style to his, and so I did that.
Now, as you've seen, we've had like a terrible, terrible run of predicting matches here. Maybe you can help us out as we take another look at these brackets. We're going to be going into the grand final a little bit later. We're going to have the final four Sacrifice up first, and as well as the semifinal. It's going to be either Garpy or Noctis.
I wonder which one RAISY's going to say.
Not only that, but I'm also wondering who would you prefer to fight in the grand final?
I'd prefer to fight Garpy, so that would mean that both grand finalists would be Maestro players.
I find that to be quite an honourable reason, actually, to want to find opponents. Not because I think it would be easier. It's a teammate.
No,
I want us both to be there.
Yeah, I just want him to win, that's all. He's my friend, I'm rooting for him, but then again, Noctis beat Rafa, Rafa beat me, so Noctis is really good. Garpy must be on his top level to beat him, so I'm just... good luck for the both of them.
Well, hopefully they've both been watching these matches and keeping themselves psyched up. I know that we're psyched up here. We're going to have a brief interlude before we get into that other semifinal.